being at Texas now and coming from a small school. He said it was definitely a little bit of an adjustment coming from a 2A private school.
#1 recruit in Arch yesterday. Of course, he's the nephew of Eli and Peyton Manning.
A lot of you guys have been asking me to dive into some college football content, and I felt like this storyline was fascinating enough for us as NFL fans to cover it on this channel. So before we get to the content, if you want to see more content like this on this channel, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! Today's video is sponsored by Game Time, the premier place to get tickets to any event that you'd like. Game Time built a ticket marketplace that makes it faster and easier to get into your favorite events at a moment's notice. They are the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You get to see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. My personal favorite feature of Game Time is the fact that they show you the price that you're paying for the tickets up front before you actually buy the tickets, and there's no hidden fees. And the fact that you can preview your seats before actually purchasing a ticket for those seats. How many times have you actually bought seats to an event and then get there and you end up being blocked or not having a good view of the event? You can find exclusive flash deals and sponsor deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And with zone deals, you get to pick the section, and Game Time picks the seats for big time savings. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Mikerophone for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Mikerophone, Mikerophone, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Arch Manning is the grandson of Archie Manning and is the nephew of Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. He also happens to be the #1 ranked recruit in the 2023 recruiting class. Now, last summer, Arch Manning already made his decision as to where he wants to play his college football, committing to the University of Texas. The interesting thing about this was the University of Texas had a lot of depth at the quarterback position. So that meant that we probably weren't going to see Arch Manning play quarterback as a true freshman. So naturally, Arch Manning redshirted his freshman season. We did get little bits and pieces of him during the spring game this past year, but the game was very pedestrian to say the least. The initial theory was that Arch Manning was just going to redshirt his freshman season. And once Quinn Ewers finished dominating this season, which by the way, he's had a pretty impressive season so far, completing 70% of his passes, throwing for 14 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, and over 2,232 yards in the 8 games that he's played. In theory, what many people were thinking was Quinn Ewers was going to go to Texas, play a full season at Texas, and then off to the NFL draft he go. I've been quoted multiple times on this channel saying that the 2024 quarterback class for the NFL draft should be one of the deepest draft classes in recent memory. And apparently, I was wrong. But you see, in years past, you would see a lot of these college football players that are eligible for the NFL declare right away so they could start making money. Now, with NIL deals, name, image, and likeness deals, where student athletes could make money off of their name, image, and likeness, there isn't necessarily as much of a rush to go into the NFL. The NFL also represents volatility. For all you know, you could be a superstar in college, and then go to the NFL and get drafted in a bad situation with a coaching staff that has no idea what to do with you, has no idea what talent to surround around you, or a team that just doesn't have any assets to build around you, kind of like what Bryce Young is dealing with on the Carolina Panthers now. You could be one of the most talented prospects in recent memory, but if the wrong team gets their hands on you, then they could ruin your career and you can miss out on hundreds of millions of dollars. So if that's the case, why would any college football star want to rush into the NFL when you can sit back, enjoy collecting checks, although they might not be as big as what you would get in the NFL. At least the money is going to be pouring in for the time being. Enjoy being a college student because college is freaking fun and it's really awesome and you should savor and enjoy every moment of it. And then once time is up, you could declare for the NFL draft and go into the NFL. At the same time, this is very good for NFL teams. You have additional time to scout these players because they're not rushing to get into the NFL like they used to because there are other streams of revenue available to them. That being said, it seems like this played a huge factor into Quinn Ewers returning because honestly, if he declared for the NFL draft, I think he would have been a first round pick because the sample size on him for the most part wasn't necessarily the largest and he improved over his freshman season, but again, we didn't get to see him play as much as we should have. So with Quinn Ewers being rumored to return, there's some controversy. What about Arch Manning? This is the #1 recruit in the 2023 recruiting class. Not just quarterbacks, every single recruit. Arch Manning, his last name has Manning on it, for crying out loud. The last generation of Mannings both won Super Bowls. So obviously you would think he'd be in a situation where he could go to whatever school he wants so he could play immediately. Well, it seems like with Quinn Ewers' return, chances are that once again, next year for his junior season, Quinn Ewers is going to be the starting QB for the Texas Longhorns, which means Arch Manning, once again, is just going to be riding the bench, this time as a redshirt freshman. So a lot of fans are starting to speculate, is Arch Manning going to transfer? It would make sense for him to transfer. If he wanted to get some snaps in for his college football career, he would transfer. And there are some opportunities lined up for him. For example, Lincoln Riley, the head coach of the USC Trojans, has a remarkable track record with quarterback talent. He's practically been a pipeline for quarterbacks going into the NFL, some of them being unlikely candidates. I mean, Baker Mayfield, Heisman Trophy winner, #1 overall pick. He did it the very next year with Kyler Murray, Heisman Trophy winner and #1 overall pick. Jalen Hurts said, I'm tired of backing up Tua Tagovailoa on the Alabama Crimson Tide, transfers over, goes from a player that may get drafted in the 5th or 6th round in the NFL draft. Yes, I know it sounds bizarre now, but that's actually what would have happened if he stayed on Alabama. Transfers over to Oklahoma, finishes runner-up for the Heisman behind Joe Burrow, and gets drafted in the 2nd round by the Philadelphia Eagles. Now he's one of the top 3 highest paid QBs in the NFL on a Super Bowl contending team, completely revolutionizing the way NFL offenses are, by the way, and that's coming from a Cowboy fan. But once that happened, Lincoln Riley tried to work his magic with Spencer Rattler. That didn't work out, so he elevated Caleb Williams on Oklahoma, goes to USC, brings Caleb Williams with him. Now everyone's calling Caleb Williams the next coming of Patrick Mahomes. But Caleb Williams is probably going to declare for the NFL draft, despite what his dad is telling you, despite what you're hearing from multiple sources that,
hey, if the situation isn't right for Caleb Williams, he's probably going to stay.
There's a good chance he's going to declare, which means you have a prime situation to start at quarterback for the USC Trojans, who face off against lesser competition, who has a head coach that has a track record of creating Heisman Trophy winners and #1 overall picks out of his quarterbacks. And if you ask me, if Arch Manning does transfer, that would probably be the most attractive destination. Question is, does Arch Manning want to transfer? Well, according to Archie Manning, the great-grandfather of Arch Manning, the father of Peyton and Eli, and the one that had the most traumatizing career out of them, which results in him sort of micromanaging his son's careers to ensure that they get into advantageous positions. According to Arch Manning, Arch is happy with the decision he made. All the reports we get is that he's doing well. He's going to redshirt out of this year, and I think that's important. He also compared his situation to what Peyton and Eli went through. Every situation is different. If you remember, Peyton and Eli went to school early for spring training. Peyton got thrown in for his first game as a freshman. He played a great deal that season. Tennessee had a great offensive line and 2 really good running backs, so that allowed him to work into it. Eli did not take over the starting quarterback reins until his junior season at Ole Miss. So Archie said that Eli ultimately benefited from sitting on the bench for a couple of seasons. Eli had what I think is the best course. He redshirted his first year, was a backup in his second year, and then started in his third year. And I think that's a big jump. I mean, both of his sons ended up being #1 overall picks in the NFL draft. So I think Archie's track record speaks for itself. I don't think Arch really cares about NIL money. Obviously, the Mannings have enough money considering the careers that they had. I know LSU really wants Arch Manning to transfer over to replace Jaden Daniels. I think the most likely situation is Arch is going to sit back, watch Quinn Ewers for another season, take more shirtless selfies in the gym locker room with them, and when time comes for him to take over, he's going to be ready. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Do you think Arch should try to transfer, or do you think he should stay at UT? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.